Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Friday and it's deadline day, earlier deadline than normal. And I am joined over the next hour by Mr. Dean Jones, all the way in San Diego. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate.
And Mr. Big Man Backer, all the way from Pakistan. We are reaching three very, very different time zones. I reckon these time zones are proper, thirds of the world in terms of split. We couldn't have done it better ourselves.
It's crazy, yeah.
How are you, Big Man?
Yeah, hello, Shani. Hello, Dean. Hello, and welcome to all the listeners and viewers. I'm doing well. I was doing better actually a couple of hours ago before the Sun news came out, and that's gotten me a bit all over the place because it's a Friday deadline. There's not much time to think about my potential moves, and it's thrown a huge curveball actually into a lot of my plans because I had not considered for 1 second that Sun would miss out this weekend.
Yeah, we've got big updates on Jota. We need to speak about him. Sacka, we need to speak about him. Son, we need to go there. Triple captain, we absolutely have to go there. And then we've got to discuss our team. So we've got loads to get through. Should we start with triple captaincy, Dean, or should we start with press conferences? What do you reckon?
Oh, let's do press conferences first, and then we'll get onto the triple C in a minute. Obviously, just woken up half hour ago, so I'm catching up on some of this team news. It's 6 a.m. here. So this Son news is a massive surprise. I checked in with someone yesterday around the Tottenham game, and I just checked him out some other stuff. I said, "Oh, what's going on with Son?" He's like, "Oh, he's just he'll just be rested. He'll be fine." And he usually knows, so I don't even usually question. So for Ange to say he's still not right is a bit weird. And so, how convincing is it that he's not going to play? What do we think of the message that has been put out today?
Big Man, it sounds pretty. Ange Postecoglou usually talks with accuracy around injuries, doesn't he? And he's pretty much ruled him out.
Yeah, he's basically said that he's unlikely to make it, and we'll see after this week what happens and regarding his availability for next week. So it's a very vague update, but it does indicate that it's very unlikely that he plays this week, which is obviously very annoying for people who've just bought him in. I mean, I know some people who actually done Sacka to Son this week in GW9 before this deadline. That is very rough.
Was there a price rise to do that move early, Big Man? I know Sacka dropped.
Sacka was probably dropping. I think Sacka was dropping or something.
Many of us got Sacka for 10, and the fact he dropped to 10 didn't matter because he had only gone up 0.1. Yeah. But yeah, that's really interesting that so many are a bit stung by that. I guess the update on Son midweek was really important because Postecoglou said to us on Wednesday, ahead of the Thursday Europa League game, he's just got a little bit of muscle fatigue. He was never going to play against Alkmaar anyway. So we saw that on Wednesday and we're like, yeah, Son's going to be good to go at the weekend. Remember, they play on Sunday. But yeah, this news isn't great. The big thing for Son buyers is not only have they just bought him, so they don't want to sell him, he plays Ipswich in game week 11. The fixture they bought him for, the fixture they're going to captain him for. Dean, if you had bought Son, Big Man, do you move him on because there's good upside options? Or do you go, I bought him with a few fixtures in mind, it's just one he's going to miss. I keep him because Ipswich in 11 is huge.
Yeah, I mean, if I brought someone in and then they weren't playing, I wouldn't be transferring out. I would just deal with it. I think if it was going to cost me a -4, but that is one of the biggest curveballs of the season that we've had so far in this game, and obviously in a season that's been really hard for managers that are typically good at this game, and it's that is a blow. I did a video yesterday in our members section, kind of ranking the Sacka alternatives. And I had Son as number 2. I just thought the fixtures, I just thought the form that we saw in that comeback game just made him such a good pick to go like for like. And only for me, Cole Palmer came above him. So it's a massive blow. And I would probably see that out though, because I can't see it being a long-term issue unless something serious has happened there in training. He's barely had any training since that last game. There's only been 3 opportunities for him to train since then. So it does seem weird.
And he was out before the international break. So we've not seen much of Son recently because, Timo Werner got a couple of games, didn't he? So it was going to be more Timo Werner. I guess the big decision for Son owners will be not the big decision. It's seeing Phil Foden play Southampton. You can go Son to Foden, and Foden has
take the -4. Is Foden going to get enough points that you want to take a -4 on it? That's probably the thing. Like, are we that
And do
convinced?
you want Foden long term? I don't think you do. So I don't think I'd make that move because of the long
Yeah,
term.
I think Foden is firmly in the don't buy, don't sell category. I'm not even for a second considering buying him, even though I don't own him, and I would want some coverage for the Southampton fixture. But I'm not even fully convinced of a start. I think he will start, but I'm not as confident because in the Champions League we saw that Bernardo was taken off early, we saw that Gundogan was taken off early, and that doesn't exactly bode great for Foden's minutes. Even though I still think the fixture is such that tactically Pep won't want so much control. He was worried about control against Wolves, which is why we saw Foden getting rested. I don't think that will be the case over here, but the doubt is enough to put me off, and I don't want to potentially sell a problem for another potential problem in my team. And even if he plays Southampton, the fixtures after this week aren't great anyway. So is it really worth it? I don't think Foden is a buy for sure, in my opinion. I'm currently looking at Palmer as a potential replacement, and I think most Son owners, most Sacka owners should rightfully look at Palmer as well. I know Gianni is looking at Palmer. I think he's actually bought him in this week. I think I might join you, Gianni, on that one. But currently, I'm very torn on my transfers, and I would love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to seeing our teams coming up, guys. Stay tuned for that and make sure you hit those buttons. Do like, if you're new around here, also consider subscribing to the channel. Dean, we've spoken a bit about Son. Sacka. He hasn't been pictured in training. Sky Sports News get to do like 15 minutes of Arsenal training. I was in the Sky Sports News building as they went live to that, and I've just posted a video on Twitter of me being like, can I see Sacka? On the TV screen, of course. Arteta's so smart, he'd probably, even if Sacka was training, say don't go out because there's cameras. Go out in 15 minutes, Bukayo. So I guess we can't completely rule him out, can we, or can we?
I don't think so, no. I mean, the messages that there have been from decent sources, there's been a couple, indicate that they're doing everything they can to have Sacka involved in that game. To what extent, I can't be sure, but I don't trust Arteta one bit. I've ditched Sacka basically because I'm fed up with Arteta. I don't want to be playing this game every week all season where Saka's got a knock, he's got a little triangle by his name, and I'm stressing on a Friday night about whether Saka's playing or not. I could do without that in my life, to be honest. So I've just come off him completely. Obviously, not my decision. Big man, I don't know if you know, but my son.
I told him on Wednesday. I told him.
He's made my transfers for me this week. So that was taken out of my hand. Been a great week, by the way. When someone takes your transfers out of your hand and they've already taken a -4 and there's nothing else you can do about it. Lovely feeling. Quite cathartic. But the fact I've got Palmer in for Sacka already is actually really nice, and I don't have any regret about it at all. Like, the fixture doesn't appeal. I'm not convinced he plays. If he does play, I don't think he's going to get like more than a half. I can't see him playing even 60 minutes, to be honest. So like, there's just no upside for me in picking Sacka for this particular fixture.
What do you reckon, Big Man? How do you read that with Arteta?
Yeah, I think Palmer is a solid pick from this week onwards, and you're completely right when you say that it's just not worth stressing over, especially when the fixtures aren't great anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Arsenal. Arsenal have Newcastle and Chelsea after this week as well, and this week is relatively tough with Liverpool as well. So is it really worth the headache? I completely agree. I think you're probably better off just spending him if presented with the opportunity.
Yeah, and we've also got to consider like where Arsenal are at right now. Like they've got so many problems to deal with. Like this weekend, there's no Saliba. Calafiore's obviously been. I haven't seen the update on him, but was a doubt. Odegaard's still out. Sacka looking like he might be out again. It's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, and even has a knock-on effect for somebody like Kai Havertz for me, because Havertz has been great. Like, I think the way he's become an all-rounded centre forward makes him a really good pick for this game. But if he hasn't got Odegaard or Sacka, then that really is going to change the sort of output we can expect from him. And we've seen that. We've seen how Arsenal have changed when they are playing without either of those players. It's a different attacking intent that they're going to have. And obviously it's not going to be as good. Now, Arsenal really have to dig in at the weekend because they really need some sort of result in this game so that they're not playing catch up. They can't afford to drop too many points at this stage. So I'm slightly concerned for Arsenal, if I'm honest. As it stands right now, the only Arsenal asset I've got is David Raya. And you know what? I might even jump off of him at some point soon because, I don't know, I'm just fed up with this Arsenal thing. I quite like the idea that I don't have any of their problems to deal with in my own life. But we'll see about that because David Raya, I bought him for obvious reasons that I thought it was guaranteed goalkeeper points, which hasn't been the case actually since I transferred him in at all. But I was hoping long term that might be a stress-free one.
Good stuff. Okay, good on Sacka-ish. We all agree, like, time to sell. We're probably all sceptical whether he starts or not, and even if he does, we don't probably want him because whatever. What about predictions for the game? Big benching dilemmas. Some have Trent and Gabriel and having to bench one of those defenders. Some have a Gabriel and a Mikalenko-sized problem, i.e. me. In the chat, let us know what you think with a score prediction. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Just literally put your score in the chat. We'll show some of them on screen. Big man, how do you see this game going? And is Gabriel someone you would start over an Ait-Nouri or over a Mikalenko? How do you rank those Arsenal defenders and their chances of clean sheets? Because obviously no Saliba, no Calafiori.
Yeah, I think the chances are slim, but I don't think the game will be too high scoring actually, because listening to Arne Slot and how he mentioned that he's looking for a result and looking at how Arsenal will likely set up tactically without Sacka, I don't think there will be a gung-ho kind of game. I think it's going to be low scoring. 1-1 would be my prediction if you ask me for it. I think both Mikalenko and Gabriel will concede if that's what you're trying to come to, and both have similar clean sheet probabilities. According to the bookmakers, Arsenal have a 23% chance of a clean sheet. I think Everton are 24%. But then again, Gabriel has the superior attacking threat. So I think I would play Gabriel over Mikalenko if I had to pick one. I might have to decide and have to make this decision for my team myself. So, I think I will play Gabriel in this position. But I think Fulham will score as well because they've been good in recent weeks. They lost last week, but going forward, Raul Jimenez has been really, really good. He's been a big upgrade on Muniz because Muniz was fairly poor at the start of the season. And ever since Raul has come in, he's done a good job. So I'd expect Fulham to score. I think Dean would be a better guy to ask about Fulham's prospects against Everton. So, Dean, why don't you do the honors?
Yeah, look, Fulham should go to Everton and score. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, the way they've been playing, Raul Jimenez is looking sharp. I think he got his award for his 50th Premier League goal, which doesn't seem that many to me, but I guess it makes sense when you consider how much time he had to spend out and how much time it's taken him to get back on track. So Jimenez is definitely looking like a very good third striker option at the moment. And if I had any transfers to use, I might consider that over Calvert-Lewin even for that fixture. Like, fine, I'll keep Calvert-Lewin for now, but like, I've just been a bit disappointed by the lack of, like, he's just not been efficient enough, and it's been a bit disappointing because, as I said the other day to G, when he has this many games uninterrupted, no injuries, like that was the dream for me at the start of the season with this pick. Like I'd have loved to have known that he was going to play this many minutes. I'd have been like, yeah, probably 4 goals, and unfortunately the returns just haven't quite been there. So I think Jimenez is a better bet than Calvert-Lewin for that game. In terms of what I expect from Arsenal and Liverpool, I do think Liverpool go there and win. If we get the expected lineups that you would project right now, I just think Liverpool will come through that battle. They've been so good. Even when they're not good, they've been really good. Like if you look at them in midweek, the way they controlled the tempo of the game when that game was getting away from them a little bit, they'll just like stop the game. This is something they couldn't do under Jurgen Klopp. It was so emotive under Jurgen Klopp. Obviously, the rock and roll football and all that kind of stuff is what their identity was, and they wanted to be fast and zippy at all times. And they can still do that 2-touch stuff in the final third. But there are just times when the game's getting away from them, and they're just like, right, okay, stop. And they'll just be like, reset. And they slow everything down for like 5 to 10 minutes. and they just don't concede goals. Like, to concede 3 goals so far in the Premier League this season is really impressive. The only chance you really get, if you analyse the chances that come against Liverpool, Van Dijk tries to keep that defence as high as he can. So there's a big gap between him and the keeper. It's only when they're dragged back and you try and play those balls in between the keeper and the centre-backs that you ever get any real dilemmas in that Liverpool back line. So you think about some of the goals that they've conceded, there's like own goals or like little nicks off people. And it's just like the goals tend to be scruffy or very close range against Liverpool. And I think that's your only real chance. And they're few and far between. You see that teams are kind of targeting that and they'll try and whip balls in between that area around the 6-yard box just to try and cause some confusion. But generally, Liverpool have held up to that challenge. So if there's no Sacka to kind of make the most of those opportunities, I'm not sure that Arsenal have the potential to cause enough of a problem here. Of course, they could score 1, but to score 2, I can't see it.
Without Sacka, I mean, they have Sterling on the right-hand side against Bournemouth was just not the same. I was watching Semenyo for Bournemouth going, I bet Arsenal prefer Semenyo than Sterling. A big man question here in the chat. What do you reckon? From OP Talent, thank you for the super chat.
Son, Palmer, -4 or roll. Welbeck and Semenyo on the bench. I don't think I'd take the hit. I think I'd probably roll. I think Welbeck is a bit of a doubt himself. I'm not sure whether he's going to play, but Semenyo is fine to come in. I don't think I'd take the hit personally, but if you have the free transfer, I think I'd make it. That's the way I'm looking at it. Currently, I have 3 free transfers, so I'm in a position to actually get Palmer, but I won't necessarily go out of my way and take a -4 to do it.
Yeah, okay, nice. Jota is the other one for the press conferences. I don't think many own Jota yet, but he's been ruled out. So that's interesting. Yeah. If anyone fancies a Darwin punt, I'm a bit too punty already this game week with Foden in and triple captain Haaland maybe. Darwin would be a step too far.
I don't think it's a bad pick though. Like
he's looking good, isn't he? In the week, he looked good.
He looks. Yeah, I mean, what you want to see from Darwin sometimes is just the scruffy stuff and just the normal stuff that you want in a number 9. And I know he's only got a tap in there, and it might have gone in anyway, even if he hadn't touched it from Salah. But that's fine. You just want to see Darwin in and around those areas and just building his confidence up. So I don't think it's a bad shout. And obviously, the real dilemma if you've got Luis Diaz or Gakpo, I couldn't even tell you where they'll go on that one. Like, it's a complete 50-50 in my book.
Yeah, Gakpo started the last 2 now. We do have a quote from Arteta, by the way, 30 minutes ago, saying, Sacka has done a bit of training on the grass, I guess away from the group. How far we can get him to Sunday, that's a different question. We have another day, which is a good thing. We shall see. There's a chance now that we get a 30-minute off the bench Sacka, which is just not good for FPL managers. Like, you either want him starting or not around. So again, like another.
But even if he starts, mate, if he's been,
if he's on one leg.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I understand they want to do everything they can to have Sacka out there because he's so good, but he's playing against Liverpool, and if you're not at 100% for a game like this, I'm still not sure you're that bothered about it. And I mean, the sensible thing is honestly to just avoid this situation if you can, and because there are other options out there that are just going to guarantee you more minutes and probably more output this week.
Our resident Arsenal fan, FPL Discomfort in the chat. He plays 74 minutes. Lovely. Thank you, Kieran. Let's go to you, big man, on triple captain. We'll move the conversation over. I think you maybe even mentioned this on last week, like, as something that could be considered. I've ruled it out all week until I watched them in the Champions League. And I know it's only Sparta Prague. Sparta Prague, Southampton, quite similar. What I saw in the Champions League wasn't just Haaland playing well. It was City's attack functioning. It was seeing Doku and Grealish out, which I think is good because that means Savio starts, and that's good for Haaland and attack. But most crucially, we saw Foden playing number 10 and playing well, and that's what Haaland has missed. He's missed a well-playing number 10. Now, obviously, De Bruyne's absence is huge, but at times he's had no De Bruyne or no Foden, and he's had like Bernardo Silva play there, not the same. Or he's had Foden, stop-starty Foden. This is probably going to be a Foden. Well, you mentioned earlier, it's not 100% likely to start, but should start. How do you feel about triple captaincy? Because if you've seen my tweets or Insta posts in the last day, anyone watching, you'll know I'm pretty much doing it.
Mate,
I mean,
yeah.
my concern personally with Haaland was not the fact that City weren't playing that amazingly or whether they were looking a bit lackluster as opposed to their usual selves. I expected them to batter Southampton in any case because Southampton are just not anywhere close to their level. So that wasn't a huge concern for me. What was pertinent for me regarding the triple captaincy was the fact whether we'll get a better opportunity to use it later in the season. Currently, I'm not exactly sure because yes, we will get double game weeks, but there's every possibility with the mystery chip being introduced that we might have more chips available than double game weeks to play them in. So that is one thing. Whether it is worth saving the triple captaincy chip for later. Currently, I'm looking and leaning towards saving it simply because the opportunity cost of, let's say, missing out on Haaland against Southampton at home is not that high. For example, later in the season, we will have, this is assuming that there are no good double game week opportunities and we will be using other chips in those weeks. We might have, for example, a Haaland against Leicester at home, Salah against Southampton at home, Palmer against Ipswich at home. So there will be plenty of single game week opportunities later as well. So I think it's probably best to wait and assess because the opportunity cost seems fairly low, even if you miss out on a Haaland brace, let's say.
Go on, Dean. What's your take? You, like me, are tempted.
Yeah, I didn't realise actually you were this tempted. Sorry, everyone's saying it's lagging in the chat. I'm not actually getting that at our end.
Is that one of us that's lagging, or is that the whole output from whoever's from our
people saying stream down. I've got it right now on my phone, and it's like streaming fine. So I don't know what the issues are, but a lot of people are saying it's lagging. I can't see that from my end of things. So I think some people have got an issue and others don't, from what I can see. So sorry if you're not getting a good stream here. I can see that the numbers have just gone down massively as well. So lots of people must be having an issue.
We're on 473 a minute ago.
We're
on
just dropped by 200. Yeah, we just lost 200 people in the last few minutes.
Was it something that I said?
Yeah, you've upset people. You've broken the internet, mate. Didn't even talk about Bruno Fernandes, so I don't know what's going on there.
Someone said the Sun News has broken the internet. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll all come back in a second, and it's just a bit of a problem. Heather says keep lagging, but yeah, as I say, I've got the stream running on my phone, and it hasn't been doing that.
Internet problem in EMEA, says Ryan Posse. Yeah, it's fine for all those watching in the US and in Canada, it seems. That'd be funny if it was regional.
That's true.
Dean, this might be a good chance just before you pick up on triple captaincy, because we want as many people to hear that as possible. But for you just to pick up on membership.
Yeah, the members lounge is open. You can get on whichever tier you fancy. If you want to support the lads here at Chasing Green Arrows, we would appreciate it. You can get on the first tier where you'd get to support us, get the little emoji by your name, get some extra video content through the week, which we will be doing more of. If you guys just let us know what you want in the members section, we can do more videos around that. And then there's also the second level up where you get to chat in the WhatsApp group, which is running 24/7. There's always people chatting there. Love the conversations. I'm in there every day. So do feel free to come and join us in the members lounge. The numbers are slowly starting to pick up. So while they do pick up, do you want to take Manny's question? Thank you for the super chat, mate.
Oh, yeah. 4.4 goalkeeper, 4.4 defender, 8 Nori. Oh, your wild card? Yeah. I mean, that looks really good. 4.4 keeper. I prefer 4.5.
Johnny, this is a Game Week 12 wildcard draft.
Oh, I guess it's 12 wildcard. Oh, dude. Manny, save your $7.99 for 3 weeks' time. We can't plan the Game Week 12 wildcard now. Thank you so much for putting the super chat in. We support you. We love your support, but it is too early. So much changes every single week to the point where on Tuesday I was nowhere near triple captain. By Thursday I'd sort of signed up for it. You know?
Whoa! I didn't realise you could take that off. Yeah, you just said before the stream that you could take the triple captaincy off, which I didn't know.
It's currently hit on my phone, but I could of course deactivate it.
On a scale of 1 to 100, what are the chances of the triple captain staying as it is?
I went on the Premier League this morning and said 60-40. During the show, Kelly Summers pushed me to 70-30. We made a bit of a joke about that. And then I went on Sky an hour later and said I'm very likely to do it. I have to remember all these words because if I don't do it, I will get a lot of hate. But if I say I said for a fact I was going to do it, or I said 100% I was going to do it. So I'm very careful with my language around it. So I'm very likely. I'm 70%. I'm probably 80-20 now. Like, genuinely, the more and more I talk about it, the more time I have in the car driving, I think it's the right thing to do. And that's primarily because fewer double game weeks this season, and those other chips we are going to want for the doubles. We also have the mystery chip, so we have more chips than ever before. And then it's the matchup. It's the fact that there's Carabao Cup next Wednesday. Haaland should be rotated for that. It's the fact that he should therefore play 90. The only nagging doubt in my mind is, of course, I prefer De Bruyne to be around. He's not. I can get over that if Foden starts. It's the fact that it's the third start in 6 days for Haaland. Could he be a little bit leggy? They played Sunday, Wednesday, and now it's Saturday. That's the only doubt I have. Dean?
Johnny, that's all good what you've said, but my point is that you very casually sort of flexed that you were in the Premier League studios, in the Sky studios, in the same day. So I mean, you noticed, you thought that none of us would notice very casually how you dropped that in. That was a very
nice.
It
was only an hour apart as well.
Subtle and smooth way of dropping it in.
It was so funny. I had to get in the car from one to the other, and then I was like, "Can I really go on Sky in exactly the same outfit?" So it was like I was trying to find clothes in my car to get changed into. It's first time I've ever done that. Very, very cool.
Amazing.
But the highlight of my day is speaking to you guys on CGA at a Starbucks on the M1. You know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Dylan actually saw you once on one of the other shows, and he's like, "Why is Gianni going on somebody else's show? Why is he not?" He was very offended, mate.
That would have been on NBC, I guess, which is pretty cool with the Premier League.
It's on, it's on the Peacock app. Yeah. Look, lads, at the end of the day, Southampton are rubbish. Leicester scored 3 against them. Arsenal scored 3 against them. Bournemouth have scored 3 against them. Man United scored 3 against them. Brentford have scored 3 against them. Like, they're no good, right? And so it would be a seriously off day if Man City aren't winning at least 3-0, but probably 4 or 5-0. It's just going to be a bit of torture if it's one of those games that can happen where they build a wall and City just struggle to break it down. Wouldn't surprise me if Southampton went and scored, because it seems like anyone can score at the Etihad these days.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to overthink this. Erling Haaland.
You said this in game week 2 as well. I'm pretty sure you said you might captain him against Ipswich, and he went and got a hat-trick.
I did say that. I was like, if this wasn't right now, I would be triple captaining him.
I thought so.
And there's like a newly promoted team away who are doing no good. Manager bang up against it. They've just thrown away a 2-0 lead against Leicester. I mean, this is about as straightforward as it gets in terms of a triple captaincy. I just don't think I should overthink it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If he doesn't like bang a hat trick, fine, but he should at least get one. So I'm going to go for it. I think I really just don't see what opportunities there can be down the line that are going to be that much more tempting than Southampton at home right now.
I think that's a good point, actually, Dean. I think that's a good point. And one of the things regarding the triple captaincy is that generally, I think it is an overrated chip, because, I mean, generally you'll triple captain a player which most people in a normal week are actually going to be captaining, right? So it's basically one extra player that you're gaining over the field. Is it really a big deal? Let's say even if by any marginal chance, even if he fails, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I think it's probably out of the other chips. I think the bench boost chips, free hit chips, wildcard chips are far more powerful than the triple captaincy chip. So if you feel like going for it and if you fancy that he'll do well, then it's fine. Even 8-9 pointers is acceptable, I think.
Yeah, look, the best luck I ever had with this chip was Man City. It was Aguero when he scored 5. Can't remember who scored that 5 against now. We're going back a few years, but I'll never forget.
Newcastle, I think.
Was it Newcastle? Yeah, Newcastle was on the tip of my tongue as well.
I was in Newcastle on a stag do. It was amazing.
Oh, mate, that day was just so good. Basically won me my mini league that day with his 5 goals and a triple captaincy. And who's to say that Haaland couldn't go and score 5 goals this weekend? If he does, I don't want to be missing it. You're on mute, mate.
Ooh, I'm 80-20. Dean, put a number on it.
95.
Ooh, 90-10 or 95?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say 95%. Sorry, 95%, yeah.
95. And big man, Are you 10% now? Are you 20? Like, it's just us talking about it. Are you warming to it, or are you 100% no?
It's going to get FOMO.
25, 75, I think, leaning towards not doing it. But it's still in consideration.
Do you know what, mate? The worst thing for you if you do it, right? This is shocking. I can't believe I'm admitting this live on air, but I hope people see the sort of funny side of it, and I am tongue-in-cheek as I say it. If Big Man hits the wildcard button, and at the 11th hour, triple captain button, and hasn't made content around it for a day or two, it's a real wasted opportunity as a content creator.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
So where I was last night, I was lying in bed. I was in a Premier Inn. I was shattered. I'd driven to Bristol. I'd driven from Bristol to London. I'd done a whole day at work. And I was like, I might actually triple captain, you know. And I was thinking, if I do, and I haven't even made a video about it. So I got out of bed, recorded a YouTube video, posted it, went to bed, slept like a baby after that. It was brilliant. And then I was like talking about it all day. And I'm like, yeah, at least I've made the most of that opportunity. Now, I am not using the chip just because I've spoken about it. And I absolutely might not use it. But the more and more I talk about it, I can say honestly with my hand on my heart, I'm 80% likely to it, and I think I will. For no other reason than I think it's the best play. I'm not using it to gain followers or any of that, but it's a wasted opportunity if you don't talk about it. That's my point.
Yeah.
We've got loads watching. Big Man, tell them what buttons to hit. Tell them what buttons to hit now, and then FPL Discomfort will answer that super chat. It's a really good question.
Oh, he's locked off.
Oh, that was class. The timing
I love it. It's because the poll's just gone up saying, will Big Man triple Bruno? He's got the
see that. Dean, you tell them what buttons to press. I'm too beggy.
What are we going on here? Sorry.
Well, we want him to press subscribe, don't we?
We do want him to press subscribe. We've got 600 people in the chat right now. We want to get up to 9,000 subscribers here. I wanted to get to 10,000 subscribers by Christmas, and I'm disappointed.
Yeah, sorry, you were saying?
Oh, here we are. We thought you had the ump, mate.
No, you were saying the plug, right? Like and subscribe plug. You're on mute, Johnny, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, I keep doing that. I think our producer posted a question saying, will Big Man triple captain Bruno in the chat? And then you left.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, before I come to that, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're making 2 or 3 videos. We actually do 3 videos, 3 live streams every week, 1 review show, 1 team selection, 1 preview show. So it requires a lot of time and effort. A lot of effort goes behind the scenes, so we'd appreciate any sort of support from your end. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I mean, I'm actually saving my triple captain's chip for a rainy day. I think if I'm doing poorly in rank, and let's say if I need a boost at the end of the season, I might as well triple captain or differential. Who knows?
Yeah, hear that. Good question from Kieran. There are loads of good budget forwards at the moment, guys, to the point where I feel like we're all playing 3-4-3. Not 3-5-2, because it's like, you want all these guys. Let's all rank them. I would go Visser, I think, at 1 if you're confident of a start, because Ipswich is such a good entry point. You played 30 last time out. Then I'd go around Jimenez, Strand, Larson, Cunha. I think they're all 4 are good. There's no argument to all 4. If it's just for the next 4 weeks, though, yeah, definitely I'd Visser number 1, I think.
Yeah, it was interesting that Gary O'Neill was saying that Strand Larson's just got to get himself fitter because he can't get past the hour mark. It's like he gets to the hour mark and his legs are just gone. He's got nothing left to give. He said, so I've had to have a word with him about, like, we need you on the pitch for longer. Like, you're great, but you're running out of batteries at 60, 65 minutes. And we just can't have that in this team. So that's interesting. I think he has looked quite good. Visser, for me, is a great pick for this week. As you say, if you're confident he's going to start, then he would be the number 1 pick for me, and then it would be Raul second. That comment about Strand Larson and minutes just niggles away at me. A game like Brighton, if you're thinking, well, he's not even going to get past 65 minutes, then it's a very limited amount of time to make an impact in a game, which is pretty difficult.
Big Man, how do you rank those budget forwards? Like, who's your top 2 of the 4?
As someone who's already tripled up on Brentford, I can't actually afford Wissa. But irrespective of that, I think Raul and Cunha would be top of my list. I think both of them have a good run of fixtures coming up. Seem relatively secure for minutes as well. So I think from those, I would prefer those 2.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Good questions. We'll see our teams in a second. We've got 20 minutes left of the show, guys.
Yep.
Thank you for all your questions. There was a question just about from Manny, just very quickly. Thanks for the super chat. You can't use any 2 chips in the same week, including wildcard. You can't wildcard and then use a chip. So, no, unfortunately, that's not an option for you. And Solar Wind says Eze in for Sacka or Palmer. I mean, definitely Palmer. Definitely Cole Palmer. If you can get from Sacka to Palmer, guys, that is a very, very good transfer. I think the entry point for Palmer is perfectly fine. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Yeah, I got to just apologise here in the chat, in the comments section. It says Ryan Potter was hidden by Dean Jones. I don't even know how to do that, so I've obviously just had put my finger on my phone and accidentally stopped someone from commenting. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I'll try to fix it. I don't honestly know how I've done that. I'll try to fix it any second now.
Yeah, good point. Brian says, except game week 1 where you can bench boost and wild cards because okay. I guess you can use 2 chips in a game week. Kind of, yeah. This stream feels like everyone is drunk. I'll take that as a compliment, I think. Sorry, I'm in a cafe. I'm going to remember to keep muting background noise. Let's move to our team reveals.
Maybe. Here we go. Who's first? Oh, it's me. I thought it would be. Yeah, so I've been sliding away, lads, down to, I don't know, 800,000 or something. So it's been a bit annoying. Again, another reason probably why I'm looking to triple captain this week is to kind of make some ground back. Like, if Haaland does bang, I just want to get back up there again. So that's where I'm with that. Dylan's obviously made my changes. I really like it, if I'm totally honest. I'm really happy with the fact that I've got Buonanotte in here as well for this Nottingham Forest fixture. It just gives me something to cheer as well in that game. And actually, I've reason to watch that game. So pretty happy with it overall. A couple of them I'm not expecting too much from. Robinson, I don't know that I'll get massive upside from that because I do think Fulham will concede in that game, but hoping that he can come up with something going forward. Salah against Arsenal, who knows? But I've just decided I'm going to stick with it, possibly for the whole season. Mo Salah, I think I might just go with it because a lot of people just are unsure of it and wavering. And if I just am consistent with owning Mo Salah, then I'll pick up some of his points along the way that people are just going to be missing out on by jumping on and off. So, yeah, that's where I am with all of that right now. Everything else is pretty set and forget, really, until I come to wildcard time, which I have no idea when that will be. Cole Palmer, as I've said before, I think if you can get from Sacka to Palmer, it's the best transfer that you can make this week in midfield. My only regret with this team is that I haven't gotten Burmo. I am gutted I haven't gotten Burmo. To the extent I actually filmed a video this week for the members section and was going through the midfield options, and I was like, I'm just really relieved that I've got Cole Palmer and Burmo. And I finished recording and sent it to the I was like, hang on, I haven't gotten Burmo. Why have I not gotten Burmo still? So I'm gutted about that. But yeah, that's the one downside for me this week. As Sally says, no Burmo or Vissa. Yeah, that's probably the one that could hurt me.
I like the fact one of your Dylan's sub transfers was actually improving your bench, which I think is important because that helps not feel the need to wildcard so urgently. When you've got a bench of players not playing, another reason to wildcard. Dibbling's addition is quite nice. He's the perfect 8th attacker, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad he's done that.
Yeah, good work. Big man, I think we've got your team coming up next. Dean's obviously made 3 changes. Still got money in the bank for next week. Big man, how are you shaping up? Because you do have the luxury of 3 transfers, so you could, in theory, sell Son and bring him back for game week 11. But that's a lot of transfers used on one player that could just miss a game and be back for Aston Villa.
Yeah, so this injury has actually thrown quite a bit of a curveball in proceedings. There are 2 ways, realistically, I can go about navigating this. The first is that I can save the transfer and just let Semenyo come in for Son and just accept the fact that Son might be unavailable. I think Semenyo is a fine sub to have this week anyway. It's not exactly a bad thing to have in mind. The second option is that I decide to be aggressive with my transfers. I use 2 of them and I sell Son. I only have like 0.2 million in the bank, so I can't go directly from Son to Palmer. Palmer is the one I ideally want in this position. And in fact, even if I keep Son, I will go to Palmer in 12. So essentially what I'm doing right now, if I decide to bring Palmer in, is that I'm doing Son to Palmer, and then I need a move to fund it. And I think the obvious move to fund it is by selling Saliba, because the next few fixtures for Arsenal aren't great, and I don't exactly want to have double Arsenal defense in the weeks to come. And because I have Gabriel Mikalenko, who are not exactly great to play this week, I basically get a better defender this week as well, and maybe bring a nice 4.5 million defender in. Now, that could be Ait Nouri, Dunk, Colwell, any of those guys. Currently, I'm leaning towards Dunk, as long-term Brighton's fixtures are really good, especially this week, and then after game week 10 as well. So
would you start them? Would you start that budget defender instead of Gabriel?
Yeah.
Like, say you brought in Dunk, you'd bench Gabriel then, right?
Yeah. So Son to Palmer, and Saliba to Dunk would be the transfers should I make the double move, and the other option is to roll. So this is what I'm torn between, and I would love to hear your thoughts regarding this going forward. You guys know me better than most, and you know that generally I love rolling transfers. I don't like being aggressive, but I am sort of leaning towards making those 2 moves because it sets me up well for the long run. And when I look at my structure long term, I want Palmer and I want that 4.5 million defender in Dunk, because he rotates well with the rest of my defense. So it might be worth it, actually. That's what I'm thinking. What do you guys suggest?
Are you going to own Cole Palmer anyway? Like, are you going to move heaven and earth to make sure Cole Palmer's in your team in game week 12? If so, the move to him this week makes sense.
Yes.
You're confident you'll own him in 12, yeah. So
there's no chance I go without him in 12. There's like 0.01% chance that I go without him in 12. Because the
getting him
so
now
good.
Makes sense. Getting him now then is fine. Just means no Son in 11, but he's a you can maybe get Brennan and cover Spurs a different way. Dean, what's your take? Would you stick with Son or get Palmer in? Big man does have the luxury of transfers.
Yeah, because he's actually got transfers. I would make the switch, but yeah, as I said at the start of the show, if it was going to cost you a -4 and he'd brought in Son and he's not going to play and you can't get to Palmer, then fair enough. But you can get to Palmer. I think you might regret this one, mate. Palmer's going to bang.
Yeah, I hear you. I completely hear you. And that's why I'm sort of considering those 2 moves, even though it's very unlike me to be as aggressive.
You're also so hot on the Arsenal defence. You were last year. It did really well for you. The double up at the back was something you were always going to do wildcard 6. And you were happy riding out with double Arsenal defence through these tough fixtures. And I'd be doing the same. I'd be selling Saliba if I was selling any player to get money out of them to get Palmer. But long term, you're going to want that double Arsenal defence again, aren't you? But it's an opportunity to maybe jump on Raya instead of Saliba, which might be something you prefer in 12.
Exactly. And generally, I think with the emergence of Lewis and Porro and Gabriel and and some of the other defenders that I have, I don't necessarily think that double Arsenal defense is necessarily the way to go, because I think Raya and Gabriel probably give me a better balance. Had that news not broken out where Raya was a doubt in game week 6, I would have definitely had Raya and Gabriel instead of Gabriel and Saliba, because Saliba is actually giving me a benching headache every week. So I don't necessarily have to own him, because my defense even without Saliba is perfectly fine. I mean, there will be a lot of weeks where I have genuine benching headaches, and I would not want to play a 4 at the back.
Like that, I think you're set, mate. I think you're going to do that, and I think you've talked a really good argument for it. And Dean and I probably both agree. Let us know in the chat what you think. Nice, big man. We look forward to seeing your team. Be posted, I guess, on Twitter around that deadline. This is my team. I've made my move. Sacka, Palmer, with 1 free transfer. I had the exact funds, hence going early in the week before Palmer rose in price. He's now 10.9. My big decision is Mikalenko or Gabriel. I think I'm going to start Mikalenko. I fancy Liverpool. I just fancy them in this one.
Yeah.
and then it's triple captain Haaland or not. And as I said, I think I'm going to do it. So yeah, any thoughts, Dean, on this team?
Yeah, you're finally going to have a great game week, mate. Like this is it. Like this team is banging. Like you could really be in for a big points week here, especially if you do go triple captain and it works, because the midfield 4 is potentially ideal. The only one I'd be looking, Gabriel. It's a tough one because obviously it's still Arsenal. They're not like rubbish, and like there's a chance. There's always a chance that he could come up with points.
He scored against at Anfield last year, Gabriel.
Yeah, so I think little things like that, you're like, okay, he could still come up with something, but Mikalenko might just give you a need to just not worry so much about when Liverpool score in that game. I like it, mate. I think it's a really good team.
Big man.
I mean, the front 7 especially, I mean, this looks like a free hit front 7. It's really, really strong. It's really strong. I think you could be in for a good week. I agree with Dean. Even the keeper and Lewis, it's fine. And I mean, clean sheet probabilities for most teams aren't great this week. So, yeah, I think you're well set, actually.
What's your take, big man, on Trent? He's not in your team. Most content creators that own Trent have sold him this week. Like a lot have sold Trent probably to get Palmer in. I've not had to do that, but we're all going to want Trent soon, aren't we? I feel like Trent is one of those sales that you just want to reverse in a few weeks' time, and therefore it's not worth the 2 transfers. Obviously, I don't think he's going to do well against Arsenal, but he can't have a great fixture every week.
I mean, if you have him, he's fine. I mean, I get the argument for selling if you're looking to afford Palmer, but I think in most cases I would recommend keeping because long term he's always going to be a good pick. I mean, he's top for XGI among defenders this season. Currently, he's also in my plans. Let's say if I go ballsy with my moves next week, I may decide to bring Trent back in. If not next week, then by game week 12.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, personally, I haven't had Trent. I'm not going to have Trent. And I think right now I would be of the mind that if I had him, I would be probably looking to sell him to open up funds further up. I just don't know that he's going to get enough points.
The only thing that I'd want to mention here is that there was news today that he's been managing a minor issue, which is why he's been getting subbed early and he's not exactly fit. So that's one thing worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of 80-minute subs, even in the week. Joe Gomez coming on. Yeah. There we go. Thanks, Jonathan. So James' team's going to get a massive call. I'm trying to speak as little as I can because of the noise. Sorry for the background noise, guys. There's 700 of you watching. Dean, tell them what to do.
Yeah, please like and subscribe. And if you do really like it here, then we do have a members zone as well where you can support the channel. So please do feel free to look at that if you enjoy us. We're here 3 times a week on Chasing Green Arrows. Sometimes it's all 3 of us. Sometimes it's variations. But you always get a bit different chat here compared to some of the other channels, but insightful, I like to think, most of the time at the very least, even though for some reason I'm the highest ranked out of the 3 of us right now. I think we might be coming to the end of those days, so I'm trying to drag it out as much as possible. Hence the triple captain on Haaland this weekend, which I'm very confident about. I'm confident about this triple captaincy. We've got 5 minutes left of the show, so we could probably do some quick fire questions as we go. Sigmund says start McNeil or Rodgers. I mean, that is a tough call for me. I actually think McNeil is the better pick across the season, so I would go McNeil, but Rodgers is not a bad pick for this week.
Evan Ilsner and Dye's looked great last couple of games. I'd be tempted to chuck him in, you know. Thanks, Stoney. Big man, you're up next. We'll rotate in that order.
Gabriel to Guardiol. I mean, I can see the logic behind it because City have a very good fixture this week, and Gabriel could and Guardiol could return heavily. But I think long-term City's fixtures after this week aren't great, so I think I would roll the transfer instead of selling.
Yeah, absolutely. In the worst-case scenario that Haaland is rested, who do you advise in case you play triple captainship?
Mbeumo.
Yeah, Mbeumo or Palmer, like that's the two
Foden?
For me. Maybe Foden, maybe. Yeah. But I mean, there's no way that Haaland's not getting on that pitch. No way.
Pep's already told us he's going to rotate in the Carabao Cup against Spurs. He said a month ago, I read the quote this morning, it was something ridiculous, like the quote. It was like, it could have been a bit jokey, but it was off the back of the draw. Pep said the exact words, in the next round, I'm announcing now, I will play the players who have played the least minute or the second team. We are not going to waste energy on this competition for sure. Haaland doesn't play Wednesday, guys. Or Pep's just playing mind games, which, we've seen before.
Yeah.
I love the Vissa punt. You just have to be confident he's going to start. I'd be on the Brentford forums. Big man, what's your take on Vissa? He played 30 last week. They need him.
It's tough to say, but yeah, they need him for sure. Semenyo or Smith Rowe? I think Dean should be the one to answer this question because he's the Fulham fan.
Semenyo. I'd say Semenyo at the moment. Like Semenyo's he's getting into such dangerous positions. He always gets a really good chance every game. Smith Rowe's playing fine. Not been the sort of output so far that would convince me to go there ahead of him. Same here, FPL James, Semenyo or DCL to start. So Kyle Semenyo to start. Everyone's just asking the Semenyo question. I'm just going to go Semenyo.
I think I would play DCL over Semenyo personally.
Maybe the DCL one, just because he's playing Fulham at home. And Semenyo's obviously got Villa away, which isn't easy. But Semenyo even playing Villa away doesn't really bother me. Like, if Bournemouth get chances, they tend to fall to him. He put one over the bar the other day.
Yeah, against Arsenal. We should have scored that.
But he knows that. He was so annoyed with himself. And I was like, he ain't going to do that again. Like, I trust him. Next one that comes to him, he's burying it.
I like Aïnouri. I don't think Gabriel's a great start this week. I know that could. We all see Gabriel as the guy that can score any game. And we're right, because he's amazing in the air from set pieces. But how many headers does Gabriel score a season? 3, 4? Probably not going to be the week you bench him. He is centre-back. We sometimes talk about Gabriel like he's some prime winger that scores every 3 games, like 1 in 3 man. He's not. He's a 1 in 10 man. Let's remember that.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point.
Evan Nielsen or Semenyo, great show, lads. Yeah, it's tricky to say. I think I still go with Semenyo. His numbers have been better. When you look at the XG per 90, XGI per 90, his numbers over Evan Nielsen have been better. And he's playing 90 minutes. I don't think Evan Nielsen will play 90 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 starters out of this lot. Oh, I'd probably go Aina and Trent personally.
Konate's been amazing this year, but I think you've probably played the fixture and therefore go Pau Torres.
Yeah, absolutely.
Canate, by the way, for 5 million, like he's playing every game. It's a good route to the Liverpool back line. I really rate him as an FPL pick. Guys, we've loved having all your comments. Thank you so much. There's loads of new people around here today. If you're new, I hope we've done enough to convince you that Fridays at this time slot, chasing green arrows, whether you're triple captain or not, come by and say hello. We hope to involve you as much as possible, and you dictate the agenda as much as anyone, guys. So Mondays, evenings, UK time, Wednesday, lunchtime, Friday, lunchtime, notes for your diary. When you subscribe, or if you are subscribed, just hit that notification bell, and you'll always know when we're going live. Dean, any final thoughts from you? And then I'll come to you, big man, before we say our goodbyes.
No, I'm locked in, mate. I've just pressed the triple captaincy button. I'm going in. Haaland is getting the nod with 3 armbands on this weekend. So good luck to him and good luck to Man City.
We're all City fans on Sunday. I don't think that game's on TV, Dean, in England. Rubbish. You'll be able to watch it.
Saturday, 3 o'clock, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah.
Saturday 3.
I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. I'm definitely watching that one.
Big man, final thoughts from you? Last couple of hours to go. You've got some decisions to make.
Big decisions to make. I'll just go take a bit of a shower, relax my thoughts, then see which way I end up going, because it seems like a swingy decision, one which I was not expecting.
I like the fact this deadline isn't reliant on leaks, because it's a Leicester game and a Forest game. We're not really waiting on big news. Like, we've probably got all the information now, so we've got a little bit of time to make a considered opinion. Remember, if you are triple captaining, my last message to everyone thinking about doing it, don't overthink it, don't overstress it. It genuinely is the weakest of the chips. If you get an extra 10 points from your triple captain, you're happy. You want more than 10 from bench boost. You want more than 10 from free hit. Those chips require a lot of headspace. I don't think triple captain needs to, and I think sometimes I overcomplicate it. the reason I'm hitting the button is it just makes sense here and now for all the reasons mentioned. If you are just tuning in, go back and watch the last hour. If you want to know more about triple captaincy, it's all there. Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you, Dean and Big Man, for always. Love the last hour with you guys. Thank you to everyone in the chat, our mods, our members, our chasers. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Good luck.